Welcome to the Foster Friendly Podcast, where we come together to make a difference in the lives of children in foster care and the families who care for them. Foster Friendly communities are part of a nationwide movement by America's Kids Belong that helps people from all walks of life take action and help kids and families thrive. You'll hear from former foster youth, foster and adoptive parents, social workers, faith and business leaders, and other experts on how to engage in meaningful ways. Our hosts Brian, Travis, and Courtney explore inspiring stories of everyday people making a difference in foster care where they live and work.
Hello and welcome to the Foster Friendly Podcast. My name is Courtney Williams, interviewing co-host Brian Mavis today. Brian, how are you today?
You know, it is a gorgeous day out here on the Front Range, about 70, sunny, beautiful. And so that helps, except I'm inside.
Maybe we can get outside after this.
All right.
I always have high hopes for my days. Like,
how is it over out in the western side of the mountains?
It's beautiful, almost 80 today. So yes.
All right. Okay. Nice.
I'm itching to get outside. So
yeah. All right. Let's make this a fast one.
Here we go. It's very easy. 4 topics today.
Everything's fine, people.
Oh, well,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, 4 topics, not 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we've got a big feat ahead of us, continuing our side series here on your book, Go Upstream. We've done previous episodes on the social wounds 1 through 6, and today we are doing 7 through 10. So
yes, homelessness, incarceration, teen pregnancy, and generational foster care.
Awesome. And again, your book, you want to give just a brief synopsis if anybody hasn't listened to the previous episodes? Tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah, the book was born out of this, realizing that kids who age out of foster care without being connected to the family are kind of the leading demographic into these 10 other social wounds. And unless we help these kids be a part of a family, we're likely to see them with these services later in life, dealing with incarceration, like we're talking today, or homelessness or teen pregnancy, those kinds of things. The other reason to write it, though, was when people who care about the community, church leaders, community leaders, the average person who just cares, when they look around, they think, oh, what issues are there? Well, let's help solve homelessness or mental health or human trafficking. And it was like, but nobody really thinks foster care. And foster care is the root of these other things. And so the whole idea was, well, how about go upstream, help these kids have a family so that they don't need some social services and these other issues 10 years from now. And so trying to elevate foster care so that people think about it when they think about these other issues.
Yeah. Okay. So let's dive in then. Let's dive into the first one for today's homelessness.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us the story that you kick off that chapter. Yeah, the connection there.
So let's kick off that chapter with the story of DeAndre. He was 17 and a half when we met him, and he was, if people are familiar with our work, one of our key signature programs is the I Belong Project, where we have filmed kids, and we've up to them like 4,000 now. They've never turned a kid away. And DeAndre was 17 and a half and desperate for a family, and but his story ends sadly because he was 17 and a half. He was a boy. He wasn't white, those kind of things. But he had a great reputation in child welfare, super kind, good grades, good student. And so people were like, he's a great kid. And but he didn't get picked. And so we kind of kept that, internal clock in our head of like, hey, DeAndre, I think is aged out. He's turned 18. So within a week of him turning 18, we reached out to child welfare to see if we could, check in on him. And they said, we have no idea where he is. We've heard rumors that he's living on the streets. And so he just personifies he did everything right, even though, but within a week, and might have been the very next day of aging out, he was homeless.
Oh, yeah, so sad, and does seem like it's a common thing for kids who age out. How common is it?
Yeah, it's so roughly 1 in 5 are homeless within the day. They turn 18, they're out of the system, they're homeless that day. A quarter experience homelessness within the first year, and up to half experience it within the first 4 years of aging out. And so, and then overall, compared to their peers who aren't in foster care, kids who've been in foster care, who've aged out, not connected to the family, are 10 times more likely to be homeless than their peers.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, like just not having that connection with somebody to help them through this next phase of life. And that's probably why, I guess a lot of these social wounds are probably why they've increased the age limit on foster care. Like a lot of states, it's 21 or 22 now.
Yes, and what's interesting is extending those services. I looked into that because the whole idea of extending those services is give them a few more years in the system so that they can become more stable. And I think it's a good thing and it's a good idea, but the reality is they end up being homeless at 21 instead of 18. And it just delays homelessness, not unless they do get connected to family.
Yeah. And also in our experience, they have to choose that, right? They have to be in foster care in many places till 18, but they often will choose not to stay in the extended.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And sometimes they feel like, oh, that was a mistake. And then they want to go back and get some more support. And then at one time in Colorado, they couldn't even change their mind. I think we helped change the law on that. So one of our interns did that once.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what drives that link between homelessness and foster care?
Yeah. What drives it is, there's no family safety net. And again, just think about kids in general, or if you're of the age and have kids, lots of 18 to 21 year olds, 99% of them are still getting a lot of help from their family. And so they lean on them, and these kids don't have that kind of help. So family safety net. Another one would be limited access to job training and budget helps. Again, just kind of those normal things that family can provide. The other one is prior homelessness with their birth family. It kind of feels normal to them. They, as a kids, with their birth family, were living in shelters or cars, some of them. And so this is what they know. And then the other thing is just repeated moves. If they're moving a lot in foster care from home to home, they get this feeling of, I have a house but not a home, and so it's easy for them not to have a home. Easier.
Yeah. I've noticed in a lot of kids quite a few of them that come into our care, and like with this one boy that came in, he was like, your house is just too clean for me. I'm not used to cleanliness, and stability. Like some of those things just don't feel natural to them because if they weren't raised that way, it feels uncomfortable.
Yes, that's true. And so you even if when you're trying to help in those ways, you've got to realize, what their normal has felt like. And some of them have a unusual amount of familiarity with chaos and things that aren't secure. And somehow they feel safer there until they don't.
Yeah, for sure. So what prevents homelessness best? How can we help in this area?
Well, kids who are either reunified or are adopted or have a connection with some sort of family, their foster family, are dramatically less likely to be homelessness. So it is relationships that that's the thing that changes outcomes. So when you see people who are homeless on the street and if somehow you were to discover they were in foster care, and again, many, many of them were, they weren't, the ultimate bottom line isn't because they're poor or because they're starting to, take drugs or not employed. It's because they didn't have relationships that kept them from all those other things as well.
Mm. So as foster parents or communities, people listening that aren't fostering, what can we do right now to support this cause?
Yeah. So if you know of a teen that's in foster care or one that's recently aged out, is uh, one be in their lives, be a mentor. A lot of kids at at that age, some will want a family, or some not till later in life, but some are so sick of being rejected or being in the system they don't want a family, but they do want connection. They want mentors, and so you could help them by mentoring them with life skills that they probably don't have, like understanding how credit cards work and debit cards and how not to use credit cards, and having a budget and how to sign leases and how to cook, those kinds of things. And so many of those things, though, they know they need so much that might be too much for one person. So it would be something where either something like in your church, start kind of like a success team, and you'd have like 10 people surrounding a youth. And so that kind of thing of like get a team of people together and help that youth over the next couple of years get to where they are connected and moving toward independence. But it's the connected part that really matters.
Okay. Well, before we move on to our next one, close us out on homelessness. What can you leave us with?
I said, housing ends the crisis for a night, but family ends the pattern of homelessness.
It's good. Yeah. Housing versus connection.
Yes. And that, again, you're going to hear connection and family and relationships the whole way through.
It's the key. Yeah.
It's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about incarceration a little bit. Kick us off with this again, the story of, is it Kisa?
Kisa, yeah. And Kisa, in that story, she's she was in foster care. She's now an adult and is in prison. And it was interesting that I was tempted to have a male represent this one because they're more likely to be in prison, but is I don't know, it kind of jolt people of like, it's not just guys, women too. And a key thing that she said is, as a kid in foster care, she said she felt like a throwaway. And it was that feeling that kind of led to her own feeling of, I don't matter. And so why should I care about my life? Nobody else cares about my life, which leads to risky choices, which leads to, kind of things that are now becoming illegal. And one thing leads to the other. And so it was this feeling of being not valuable that kind of led to what they felt like was inevitable. They're like, they had the who cares attitude until, again, they get older and they're like, they're sad that they have felt this way and it's led to this. Yeah, a large share of people behind bars have had foster care histories, and so it might be something that doesn't surprise people. Statistics sometimes they really vary by quite a bit, and I can't really figure out why one place it might say it's 20 or 30% of their prison population, another place says it's 80%, but it's, again, just like homelessness, a lot of people in prison have had a foster care history. And the other part of that is it's group home. So that one also seems to have more likelihood, if that's been how they've been raised, as in a group home, more likelihood into prison. I do want to say, there are good foster homes and there are bad foster homes. There are good group homes and bad group homes. But I think that what really makes the difference is group homes, even good ones, still don't feel like family.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And there's been a push nationwide to close down group homes, and there's reality of why kids do better, youth do better in a family. But we need more trained foster families that are able to equip to handle the big things. So
that was kind of what. That's a catch-22 because there is that push, but there aren't enough families. So they probably needed to build up one thing before they closed the other thing, and they did it in reverse order.
Yeah. So, Brian, is it fair to say that foster care is the cause of incarceration?
That is one of the, I think, conclusions you can make. And this is something I wanted to is foster care the reason that these kids go into care? Is it, so I wasn't the only one to ask it because I did find a study that showed if a kid is in foster care versus say have two kids in foster care, and then one is reunified with a bio family, but it's kind of ill-advised. So one child stays in a stable, safe home in foster care. One is in the bio family, and it's not stable or safe. The kid in foster care is far less likely to have problems with the law than the one who was reintroduced unwisely to their bio family. Yeah. So foster care actually can act as the interruption of what might be what feels like the inevitable path. So kind of, this contrast of a little bit of what we were saying earlier, what they're so familiar with. Some kids, though, do react really positively. Like, oh, here was normal. Here's what I thought normal life was, chaos and danger. And now I'm in a different home. And it's like, oh, I didn't know it could be like this. And I'm wanting to lean into that kind of life and values and culture versus what I was first raised in. And that ends up interrupting that path towards prison.
Yeah. Yeah, we just interviewed on the podcast two former foster youth in the last couple of weeks, and both of them said that very thing. Like they got exposed to somebody or some situation, not even necessarily living with them, but they were exposed to a situation where they're like, this could be reality. This is what normal might look like.
Right.
And then realized they didn't want that for themselves. So yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
So what breaks this, what we call foster care to prison pipeline?
Yeah, that's a phrase that I saw over and over again. It's funny because there is a foster care to everything pipeline, foster care to homelessness, foster care to addiction, but it's always foster care to prison pipeline. That's the one that's used in that phrase. And so, first of all, there have to be enough foster families. Again, just like we were saying earlier, the overuse of group homes it doesn't have near the effect a family life does to help have a kid see a different kind of future for themselves. So there aren't enough foster families, and we need more. Educational continuity helps too. Again, that is all part of it, getting bounced around if you're going from one place to the next, or group homes, education, just have too many disruptions. Also, just that they are getting, it's interesting because the social wounds aren't essentially siloed. And so they also need like healthcare and mental health care and counseling, those kinds of things that you might say, hey, that fits under social wounds of physical illness or something like that. It's like, yeah, but it all kind of intertwines. And then a true, kind of a launch support, similar to homelessness, of like have a team that says, here's the path to success, graduating from high school, getting a skill, some sort of trade, getting married before you have babies. I mean, it's like that's the plan.
Yeah.
And that's something that they probably like, oh, we didn't know that that was, the kind of path that you need to have to thrive.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can show them that. I mean, we can support them in those areas for sure. So close us out on this one too, Brian. What's your one-liner here?
Well, yeah, the word connection is going to come in again.
Surprise.
Cages don't heal kids. Connections do.
Yeah. Okay, let's move into the ninth?
Ninth one. Yes. Teen pregnancy.
And you start this off with Kaylee's story, and that story of being very tender and complex. What does it show you about teen pregnancy?
Yeah, Kaylee, again, in foster care, and she, had a child young, and it's just, what I say about this, it's a common thing, and in her particular story, the great thing was she kept the child, and there was a family who said, we're going to help you the best we can, that you raise this child. And so, but it in the few paragraphs I give it, you can see when you read it that it wasn't easy, and it was complex, and there was a lot of twists and turns. But to this day, she does have her child.
That's great. So how different are the odds for youth within foster homes and the history of foster care, of teen pregnancy?
So kids in foster care have a much higher sexual activity than their peers, and they're far more likely, like 3 times more likely, to be pregnant by the time they're 19. So it's, and then of course, there are boys involved. And so applies to
Another
them
surprise,
as well.
yeah.
They're much more likely to be sexually active and to impregnate compared to their peers.
So why? Why do those happen higher?
Yeah. So this was one of the more interesting ones when it comes to reasons why. The first one was they wanted their own family. They were like, my family's going to be different. I'm going to be different. I'm going to have someone who will love me and someone I will love. So at 16, 17, whenever they are, they're like, I'm going to create my own family.
Interesting.
And so it's very intentional. It's not recklessness. They're wanting a new family. The other one that was really interesting to me was just social acceptance among their peers. They're this particular demographic. It's not only would one person think that way, that they want their own family. All the peers are thinking similarly, and so it's encouraged. Then, sadly, it ties also when again talking about they're not all exactly siloed. This one ties to the human trafficking side, is just what I call relationship abuse or reproductive coercion. So because they're in a relationship, it's not a good relationship, and there's unsafe sex and coercion happening. And then lastly, just because they're in the system, there's, even if they want contraceptive help, it's hard for them to get while they're in the system.
Interesting. Do you happen to know, I'm just curious, with the rise of electronics, is this more of an issue now than it was before? Or do you know the numbers like now versus 20 years ago or 10 years ago?
Honestly, I don't.
Okay. I'm just curious if it makes it worse because they often are lured into situations or exposed to things, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
What can caregivers do and how can they respond wisely?
Well, if you are a foster family, you got to talk about sex. You got to have that talk. And so it's giving them accurate information. Again, talk about, how to be safe. You can even have your preferences when it comes to abstinence, and you can introduce that, but that might blow their mind, saying you don't know. also the reality of having a child. Like it may sound romantic to them, but that it's like, hey, this is actually having a child is the hardest thing you're going to ever do. And so it's just direct talk, setting goals, and then showing them a future where they can have a child. But again, back to kind of in the right order at the right time.
Yeah, that's great.
And then all that too sounds like we're just talking to the girls. The boys need this talk too, and they need to see, in role models of dad life.
Yeah. And I just, as a foster parent, if you need help talking about those things, bring in the caseworkers, bring in the therapists. It's okay to bring other people if you're not comfortable with it. I've also noticed we have to have these conversations with kids in care earlier than maybe we would have our biological kids, because they've already been exposed to things. They come to our house talking about stuff at a younger age.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Because you might think, oh gosh, I probably don't need to talk about this until they're 15. It's like, whoa, no.
Too late.
Yeah. And so, and again, it's, and so much of this talking too isn't just like, hey, the birds and the bees and the facts. It's also, I want to say this, it's speaking worth into their life. It's like, you matter. You're important. You don't need someone to sleep with you to tell you that you're valuable. You don't need to have a baby to be valuable. You matter.
Yeah. And I would also add, just open up that door and make them know that they can come to you for anything. And I tell them, like, text me. If you're not comfortable with having a one-on-one conversation, text me the question or write it on a notepad and leave it on my pillow or whatever it might be. Because sometimes they're not comfortable bringing something up that they might be questioning or thinking about. But we need to be the ones to initiate those conversations, but then open that door of like, you can come to me and talk to me about anything. And I think they just need to hear that sometimes too. Like, oh, this adult actually cares about all these areas of my life. So yeah.
Yes. Very good. Yeah.
Okay. Close us out on teen pregnancy, Brian.
Yeah, this one a little tougher on just saying it well, but it had to kind of do where we just landed right here about this idea. It's when wisdom, like we're sharing, and worth are taught, prevention of happens. Teen pregnancy prevention happens. So give wisdom, give worth.
Yeah, show worthiness. That's such an important thing.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll close out with the 10th social wound.
Yes, and this one, again, I want people to understand, it's the 10th one and doesn't kind of like end. It's the one that loops you back in a circle, back to where we start all over again. It's generational foster care. The idea of, hey, my mom was in foster care or my parents were, now I'm in foster care. I have a child and now they're going to be in foster care. And so it's the never-ending cycle.
Yeah, and this is a little personal to me because you start this off with story of Melissa, who's was somebody very dear to me. She just recently passed away, which was very hard for her family to hear. But yeah, share a little bit about Melissa and her losing her kids after being in foster care herself.
Okay, yeah, I interviewed you on this issue, and you just shared something with me I didn't know.
Yeah. We just found that out. It's interesting because, not interesting, it's really sad, but every time we do something, and we'll get more into this of just what foster parents can do, but we have rallied around Melissa. We loved her so much.
Yeah, you tell this story. It's your story. It's not mine to share for you. So tell the audience about Melissa.
Yeah, so we were introduced to Melissa as foster parents, got her 2 kids placed in our care, and right during COVID. It was literally the day the world shut down. March 12th, 2020 is the day they came to our house. So we started getting to know her because we had an infant baby and 2-year-old child, and all visits were online. So we would, I have a baby and a 2-year-old and I'm trying to get them to interact with her. So I had to be there for every single visit. So we really got to know her pretty quick, way quicker than we usually do. And then once visits got opened up to in person, I'd go meet her at downtown Denver, and she'd wait for me outside. We'd show up together. She'd help me get the kids out of the car. We'd go take the long elevator up this big building, and she would just open up. And she told me at the very beginning, one of the first times we met in person, that she was in foster care. And she's just shared her story and said, this was my story too. Shared that she entered care when she was, I believe it was 7, was in care for many years, ended up being incarcerated her last year, and then had her first child. That child goes on to be adopted. And then her next 2 children come along and they're in our care. And we tried really hard to just open our hearts and homes to her as well as her kids. And unfortunately, I think a lot of it had to do with COVID and just not being able to see the kids at first, and kind of fell back into substance abuse, and then would get a little bit better, and then kept on falling back, and they kept giving her time, and eventually they terminated her rights. And so we went to adopt them. And I will say, if people don't know, one of the worst days of my life was what it's called the goodbye visit. They're supposed to have this goodbye visit to be like their last visit with this parent whose rights were just terminated. And we sat there and she wasn't sure, like, are they going to close themselves off to me? Is this goodbye? And we looked at her and just told her, like, no, this is not goodbye. There's no way me as a mom could say, I know your history. I know you were raised in this system and now your kids are in this system, and you're just never going to see or talk to them again. And so we chose, there's no such thing as open adoption in foster care, which I think that's ridiculous. It's my own opinion. But we chose to have that openness, and it really was a beautiful thing. And so I have, it's been, 5 years now, since we adopted the 2, and we send pictures. We have visited her. She's been to our home. We've done holidays together. We've done birthdays together, and just seeing what she has been through in her life. And she recognized it. She has thanked us. She did thank us over and over and over again. And so anytime we would take a picture, I'd go to take a picture of the kids and I'd send it to them. And just most recently, I went to go take a picture at a wedding, super cute picture of the 2 of them. I'm standing here at this wedding and I go to text it to her. And as I text it to her, I see a message from her mom telling me that she had passed away, like as I'm in process of texting her a picture of the 2 kids. And it just, it broke us. We ended up leaving the wedding a little early, and just, but yeah, it's hard as a foster parent not to be judgmental. But when you do think of this generational cycle, that is so rampant. I mean, it's common. I don't know if it's true. I heard at one point that this is the number one predictor of whether a kid's going to be in foster care is if their biological parent was. Is that true?
Yes, and so that was the what I learned too. So there are other factors, of course, and so one of the ones that that we bring up and believe is that substance abuse is a big reason kids are in foster care, and untreated mental health and housing insecurity and those kinds of things. So there are those reasons, but the most predictable factor is is this kid going to end up in foster care? Find out if their mom was in foster care. If they were, that's the best predictor that they'll just repeat the cycle.
And again, it goes back to, when you meet these people, look at them as human beings and not just judging, because if we get to know their past, you can often see the reason behind it.
Yeah. You're like, gosh, this was their life. And now this is what they know. And again, back to what they know feels familiar, and they repeat it.
And often if they don't have like these other things, incarceration, and if they don't have those supports to not have those things being their reality, then they're going to likely be incarcerated or pregnant or homeless, and then
or addicted
again. So what interventions help most before removal happens?
Well, it's pairing young moms with other moms and people, and just saying, here's how to mom. And making sure that, part of that is just pediatric care or prenatal care if it's before. And it's just having what you were just saying, a grace-filled relationship. It's getting past you're blowing it and just saying, trying to be understanding, showing them grace, showing them how to mom. I don't know what the success rate is on that, but it's the right thing to do, and the success rate is better than 0.
Yeah. I've I've often said that I wish as a foster parent that they would let us foster the moms sometimes as well. We asked, we actually asked during COVID, we said, could she move into our basement? Like, we'll welcome her into the home.
Yeah.
She can mother these two and we'll show her, we'll teach her. And of course, they wouldn't allow that. But I'm like, that's one of those cases where I could have seen, we had such a sweet relationship. I could have seen that working.
I love the way you said that. Yeah.
Okay, so what's your take on adoption?
You beat me to the punch. I agree. You said it, that in the world of foster care, even private adoptions, you can have an open adoption. In the world of foster care, that is not allowed, or certainly not encouraged. But you're kind of using your own discernment, own judgment, and if you believe it's a safe, healthy connection, then that can be a good thing for the kid to help them know that their mom didn't reject them or doesn't love them, but she's just not capable of raising them, but she's still in their life.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like, our two are young still, but we have older kids that we adopted, and that's what they want to have, even that validation that the birth mom or dad thinks it's okay that they're in our home. They don't love that that's their situation. And so you shared a couple of the text messages in your book of the quotes that Melissa shared back and forth with me. And I have I went, as soon as we found out she passed away, I went and I saved those text messages and did a secret, multiple places that I want our kids as they grow up to see those messages, to know she wasn't happy this was the outcome, but she was okay with you guys being here because she got to know us and loved us and felt comfortable with you being in our home.
So important.
Yeah.
Okay.
10th one, Brian, what's your one-liner for this one, this generational foster care?
I'm changing it and I'm stealing yours. Foster the mom
Yes.
and the child.
Yeah. And it's interesting. We actually have a boy coming to our house tomorrow, who's being placed with us. And we just met his dad this morning at an icebreaker meeting. And my husband made the comment, this is like the first time we're working one-on-one with a dad. It's actually the second time. The first one, he was sick. We couldn't really have a relationship with him. But this will be the first dad that we're working with. It's usually the moms, but it could be the dads.
Yeah. Foster the parent.
There you go.
Say, yes. Or parents. Yes. That's a great one-liner. All right.
Okay. What actions do you want people to take this week as we consider these things?
Yeah. So as we kind of wrap up those 10 wounds, just continue to think, what could be my next way to help? And so one is see, do you know a foster family? And do something to show appreciation, do something practical for them, and don't just go up and say, "Hey, how can I help?" Start just by doing something kind, a kind word and a kind gesture, and then maybe you can say, how can I help? So support them. If you have a relationship with a teenager, that mentoring would be a part of it. Again, that could be part of the wraparound thing of like just mentoring. If you have an opportunity where you are a manager of a business or own a business, and you're hire them, hire a teen to start have their first job, and give them a safe place to fail. I heard a story once where this business intentionally hires aged out foster youth, and it's inevitable almost that they'll do something stupid, and so this business will fire them and then rehire them the next day and say, that was fireable, so we fired you. Now we're showing you grace and giving you a second chance. And so, just hire them, help them with driver's ed and getting just that kind of independence, and then just stay connected. Again, it's my friend Pam parish, she uses the phrase connected independence. And so so often we're like, we got to help these kids be independent. And it's like, that's only half of it. It's connected independence that they need.
Yeah. And going back to our biological children, our children.
Yes.
I mean, I have them over to the house now. I spend as much time with them now as I used to, like on the phone, or how do I do this?
Yeah. They're connected.
Today I'm sitting in Bible study. My daughter, like, I needed I'm filling out this form. I need this. Can you call me right now? I'm like, well, I can't call you right now, but it's just time. And I can't imagine that age, brain's not being fully developed until around 25. So your brain's not even fully developed. You don't have the connections, and now you're supposed to do all this on your own. It's just not realistic.
Right.
So
yeah.
So. Okay, and we're going to close this out, Brian. We got a last episode in this series.
Closing out one more episode.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. So you're like, well, I thought you guys would be done because you finished all 10. There's a part 2 to the book, and it's the kind of the solution side. I mean, each chapter ends with a bit of advice and hope, but the part 2 of the book is what it takes and what it looks like to become a foster parent, and kind of the how-to step by step, how to adopt out of the foster system, how to have your church be foster friendly, how to have a business be foster friendly, how to have a whole community be foster friendly. So next episode is kind of that, all the solutions.
Awesome. So if you're listening on a Thursday, that'll come out 2 Thursdays from now. These side series is coming out on Thursdays, and then our typical episodes are still coming out on Wednesdays. So tune in. And if you haven't listened to the previous ones, I encourage you to go back and listen to those as well. So
thanks, Courtney.
Okay. Go enjoy some outdoors.
Yeah, you too.
Okay. We'll see ya.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, will you help us reach more people by subscribing, sharing the podcast with a friend, and leaving a 5-star review? If you've been inspired by what you've heard today and want to learn more of how you can make a difference for kids in foster care and the foster families where you live, visit americaskidsbelong.org. We depend on individual donors to fund our work. We'd be grateful if you would consider joining us as a monthly donor. Visit americaskidsbelong.org to make your tax-deductible donation. Thank you. Together, we can ensure family for every child in foster care and a foster-friendly community to ensure every foster family feels loved and supported.